Let's start off with the bad, down right to the most bizarre on the list. Bizarre habit number 1. Matata culture, the rolling discotheques on wheels. Imagine stepping into a bus that's more like a nightclub with wheels. Neon lights flash as if you're in the middle of a rave, except you're just trying to get to work. These public vehicles are so decked out with crazy graffiti and booming sound systems that it feels like the bus is auditioning for a spot on MTV Cribs. The louder the music, the better. It doesn't matter if it's 7 a.m. If your eardrums aren't vibrating, are you even really commuting? Matata drivers? They drive like they're in a Fast and Furious movie, except the prize is your life flashing before your eyes. Sometimes, they don't even stop fully to let you in. It's more of a jump in, hold on for dear life, and hope for the best kind of situation. Ever seen a bus with a portrait of Beyoncé on one side and the Mona Lisa on the other? Kenya's got that covered. The Wi-Fi on board? Don't get too excited. It's there to look fancy, not necessarily to work. If you're lucky, you might even catch a matata with a live DJ. Who needs a music festival when you've got public transport like this? The interior is like a shrine to pop culture. There's no way you'll miss Michael Jackson moonwalking on the walls while you're fighting for a seat. Oh, and there's always that one daredevil passenger hanging out of the door as if they're auditioning for a Cirque du Soleil act. Bizarre habit number 2. Nyama Choma obsession, the national meat party. Nyama Choma isn't just food, it's a way of life. Kenyans take barbecuing so seriously, it's like a national sport, only with skewers instead of bats. They roast meat like their ancestors are watching and judging. If it's not perfectly done, the ancestors are probably shaking their head somewhere. The grill is never too far away, and neither are the jokes about how many cows have to be sacrificed for this carnivorous feast. Vegetarian? In Kenya, that's almost a foreign concept. What do you mean, you don't eat meat? Are you okay? Blink twice if you need help. Nyama Choma events are social gatherings where the meat is the guest of honor. People might forget your name, but they won't forget if you refuse a piece of the meat. The bigger the slab of meat, the better the respect you'll earn. It's not just barbecue, it's a respect-building exercise. It's served with a side of kachumbari, tomato, and onion salad. But let's be honest, the salad is just there to make it look like you're eating something healthy. There's always that one uncle who insists on being the master of the grill, even though he's notorious for burning everything. But hey, tradition is tradition. It's more than just eating. It's an all-day event, filled with laughter, banter, and the constant smell of smoky meat in the air. Pro tip, wear loose pants. Because if you leave a Nyama Choma session and you're still able to walk normally, you haven't done it right. Bizarre habit number 3. The unbelievable love for ugali. Ugali is basically flour and water, but don't you dare say that out loud. Kenyans will come for you with pitchforks. It's the glue that holds the nation together, literally and figuratively. You might not understand it, but once you try it, you'll be hooked like everyone else. There are no utensils when it comes to ugali. Your hands are the tools, and if you can't mold it into the perfect ball, are you even eating it right? It's basically the edible equivalent of cement, so dense that it could double as a paperweight. Ugali isn't just a meal, it's a philosophy. When Kenyans say, "I'm hungry," they actually mean, "I need ugali." You'll often hear, no matter how fancy the meal is, if there's no ugali, it's not a complete meal. Imagine serving steak without the ugali, it's practically treason. Eating ugali with anything and everything is normal. Fish? Check. Beef? Check. Soup? Yeah, just dunk it in there. Every Kenyan has that one ugali moment. Whether it's burning their hands because they couldn't wait for it to cool, or realizing they made enough to feed a small village. It's so beloved that even during breakfast, people will sometimes sneak in some leftover ugali just to start their day right. Don't be surprised if you find ugali on someone's bucket list. Before I die, I must perfect my ugali making skills. Actual life goal. Bizarre habit number 4. Cows on the highway, the ultimate traffic obstruction. Picture this. You're stuck in traffic, and no, it's not because of a car accident. It's because a herd of cows decided the highway is their new grazing ground. These cows are the true kings of the road. When they decide to cross, every car halts as if Moses himself parted the sea. Honking at them? Forget it. They'll just give you a look like, "Really? You're in my territory." The cows are so chill that you'd think they're on a casual stroll through a park, not a busy highway. Cow crossing time is unpredictable. You could be stuck for 5 minutes or half an hour, depending on how much grass they feel like munching that day. Sometimes, they're escorted by herders who look like they've seen it all. Yep, those are my cows. Deal with it. Kenyans have developed a sense of patience for this phenomenon. No one's in a rush because they know that no one rushes a cow. If you're late for a meeting, you can always blame the cows. "Sorry, boss. Traffic? No, it was cows again." It's a rite of passage for anyone driving in Kenya. If you haven't been delayed by cows, have you even experienced Kenyan roads? Pro tip, if you see cows approaching, just relax. Maybe pull out a snack and enjoy the show, because no one messes with a cow's highway takeover. Bizarre habit number 5. The mysterious disappearance of shoes. Shoes seem to vanish into thin air in Kenya, particularly during large gatherings like weddings or family reunions. It's not theft. It's more like a black hole where shoes go in but don't come out. One minute you're dancing, the next minute you're barefoot. Nobody's shoes are safe, not even the expensive ones. One moment you're the life of the party, and the next you're Cinderella, searching for your lost slipper. People end up swapping shoes unknowingly, leading to the great "where did my shoes go?" debates at the end of the night. There's always that one person who doesn't care and walks out barefoot, casually leaving their shoes behind as a donation to the mysterious shoe thief. It's almost like a game at this point. Losing shoes is part of the experience, like a bizarre Kenyan tradition. Some people have gotten wise to the trend and started bringing extra pairs just in case. Backup shoes are essential. By the end of the event, there's usually a small pile of mismatched footwear in the corner, looking like a sad shoe orphanage. You might leave with a completely different pair than you came with, but hey, at least you've got something on your feet. It's all fun and games until someone loses a favorite pair of shoes. Then it turns into a detective story worthy of Sherlock Holmes himself. Bizarre habit number 6. Sitting on stones, the unofficial Kenyan chairs. If you've ever visited a rural part of Kenya, you've likely encountered the legendary stone seat. Yes, it's literally just a stone, but to Kenyans, it's as good as a lazy boy. Comfort is clearly a state of mind, because Kenyans will casually sit on a jagged rock for hours as if it's made of plush memory foam. They'll even offer you a stone to sit on, like it's a piece of premium furniture. Please have a seat. It's the best stone around. Forget fancy park benches. In Kenya, the best spot in town is the biggest stone you can find. Bonus points if it's smooth. There's an art to sitting on stones. You gotta position yourself just right, otherwise you'll be shifting around all day like you're sitting on a cactus. Elders will often gather around in circles on stones for hours, having deep conversations. They're what's apparently impervious to the hardness. Sitting on stones also doubles as a workout. You got to engage those core muscles just to stay balanced and not topple over mid-conversation. Some Kenyans have even mastered the art of taking naps on stones. No pillows needed, just pure Stone Age comfort. Stones are versatile too. They're perfect for everything from resting, storytelling, and even makeshift tables for a quick meal. By the end of your visit, you'll swear that you've unlocked a new level of toughness. If you can sit on a Kenyan stone, you can sit anywhere. Bizarre habit number 7. The African timer phenomenon. The phrase "let's meet at 2 p.m." is more of a suggestion than a set time in Kenya. African timer means showing up an hour or two late and still acting like you're early. If you show up on time, you might be the only one there questioning your life choices while the hosts are still getting ready. Kenyan events are like a time warp. No matter what time something is scheduled, it never really starts when it says it will. Weddings, parties, and even meetings often run on their own schedule. You'll soon realize that time is more of a guideline than a strict rule. The irony is, even with the knowledge of African timer, you'll still try to arrive on time, only to find yourself waiting in an empty venue, sipping a drink in solitude. African timer applies to all levels of society, from casual get-togethers to major events. Even politicians aren't immune to showing up fashionably late. It's almost a badge of honor to arrive hours late and still be greeted warmly, as if the party hasn't really started until you got there. You'll hear things like, "We said 2 p.m., but we really meant 4 p.m., and everyone will just laugh because, well, they all know the game. If something actually starts on time, it's almost considered a miracle. People might look around confused, as if asking, "What just happened?" Over time, you'll stop stressing about punctuality and just embrace the slow rhythm. When in Kenya, do as Kenyans do. Show up when you feel like it. Bizarre habit number 8. The Omina fish, tiny but mighty. Omina, also known as the poor man's fish, is a Kenyan delicacy, but don't let its tiny size fool you. It packs a flavor punch. These small, silver fish are usually dried and sold in bunches, and they come with a smell that could wake the dead, or at least clear a room. Cooking omina is an art form. If done wrong, it ends up tasting like crunchy fish jerky mixed with disappointment. Done right, it's a flavor explosion. Omina fans will defend this fish to the death. Don't you dare criticize their beloved dish, or you'll end up in a heated debate that could last for hours. The fish is so small that you can eat it whole, bones and all, making it the most efficient snack in the animal kingdom. No waste, just pure fishy goodness. Pair it with ugali and some greens, and you've got yourself a classic Kenyan meal. It's simple, but it hits the spot. The smell of cooking omina can linger in your house for days, so if you're planning to have guests over, maybe warn them in advance. It's often considered a poor man's dish, but even the rich can't resist the salty, crunchy charm of omina when it's cooked just right. There's a whole technique to eating it without picking out bones, and Kenyans have mastered it like fish-eating ninjas. Omina may be small, but it's mighty, and if you've never had it, you're missing out on one of Kenya's most beloved snacks, even if it does smell like a fish market explosion. Bizarre habit number 9. The fascination with green grams, ndengu. Kenyans love green grams, also known as ndengu. and they've practically turned this humble legume into a national treasure. Ndengu is considered one of the healthiest and most versatile foods in Kenya, used in soups, stews, and even as a standalone dish. Despite being super nutritious, ndengu can be bland as cardboard if not cooked with enough spices. Luckily, Kenyans have perfected the spice game. Kenyans have a saying, "A plate of ndengu a day keeps the doctor away." Maybe not scientifically proven, but it sounds catchy, right? Every Kenyan child grows up with memories of eating ndengu, whether they liked it or not. It's practically a rite of passage. Some people swear by ndengu for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's that versatile. There's no time of day when ndengu isn't welcome. The cooking process is simple, but patience is key. If you rush ndengu, you'll end up with little green pebbles of sadness. People get surprisingly creative with ndengu, adding coconut, tomatoes, and sometimes even turning it into a paste for bread. It's the Swiss Army knife of Kenyan cuisine. Ndengu lovers are a passionate bunch, and they'll go on and on about how it's the best legume around. If you disagree, prepare for a long debate. While ndengu might not be the most exciting food on the planet, Kenyans have elevated it to a level of cultural significance. It's more than just beans, it's a lifestyle. Bizarre habit number 10. The love-hate relationship with tea chai. Kenyans consume tea like it's the lifeblood of the nation. If you're not drinking at least 5 cups a day, are you even living? Tea time isn't just a morning thing. In Kenya, it's always tea time. Morning, noon, or night. You can always count on someone offering you a cup. Kenyan chai is strong, sweet, and milky. It's not for the faint of heart. 1 cup can send you into a sugar coma, but it's so worth it. Tea is more than a drink. It's a social activity. If you visit someone's house, refusing tea is like a personal insult. There's always that one person who puts an absurd amount of sugar in their tea, like at this point they're drinking liquid candy. Despite the abundance of tea, coffee is often seen as second class. Tea reigns supreme, and coffee? Well, it's just the backup. People in Kenya don't just drink tea, they worship it. You could probably get away with skipping meals, but skipping tea? Unthinkable. It's not uncommon to have tea with pretty much anything: bread, chapati, biscuits, or just a hearty conversation. The tea-making process is treated like a science experiment, with precise measurements of milk, water, and tea leaves. Too much or too little of anything, and you've ruined the sacred beverage. Whether you like it or not, if you're in Kenya, chai will become a part of your daily life. Resistance is futile.